Welcome back. And we're moving into our second conversation for today as we get an update from representatives of the Tyler Savery Foundation. And of course, this is a part of, I think, processing the fact that we have lost yet another child in Belize to crime and violence. And we have two mothers who have been through this and have taken this experience and formed it into something that they hope will be positive through the foundation. We have with us on set Latifah Sutherland. She is the mother of Treshawn Goff, and we have Shakera Young, who's the mother of Tyler Savery. Good morning, ladies, and thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Okay. So, Shakera, I wanna start off by just kind of giving you an opportunity to talk about the establishment of Tyler Savery's foundation and what you have been doing since it started.
Well, good morning, everybody. As Marlene said, I'm Shakera. The foundation got registered January 2017, and so we've been functioning as that since then. Since then, we've done several outreach, and what I try to do in March is for Women's Month, I would bring together the mothers who have lost their child to violence. And I try not to limit it just to people who have lost to violence, because I know grief itself is one big pool, and so we try to open it. We also do stuff in the summer for the kids. In the intervals, we also do little small outreaches, and for Christmas, we did last year a Christmas for the brokenhearted, where we had a campfire for kids who have lost their parents or somebody to gun violence. So what we did for Christmas is we took the kids into Hattieville, and we had them do s'mores and make chili dogs and stuff like that. And then we did just little games and stuff with them to just kind of give them a little sense of relief and distraction from everything that has been going on in their families. Yeah. So basically the foundation was made to do outreach to families who have been affected by the gun violence, and also to assist the children directly, because my vision for the foundation is to target the children and the women specifically. Of course, the males will be mentored to and stuff in the interim. Yeah. However, I believe that the children and the women are the ones that are definitely directly affected, because we as the mother, we are the ones that are left now to hold that pain. And then the children now, they go unattended because we, the mothers, we have to grieve. So, sorry, so like my very good friend here, Latifah, she lost her son. She has another child, but does that child have her mom in a hole as before? No, it's never the same. And so my vision with the foundation is to bring women back to a level of wholeness, so to speak, is to reach out to the kids, to do kind of a prevention call on it, to say, you know what, I am doing this now and I'm impacting your life now in a positive way and a spiritual way, because I am a believer, I'm a Christian. So I try to my best to incorporate that with the outreach.
Latifah, tell us why, I mean, what was your appeal in joining up with Shakera and being a part of this cause? You only lost your son a few months ago, and I'm sure it's still a very fresh memory for you. What has it been like getting together with the group and shifting this into something that you hope will be positive for the mother and children?
Well, to be honest, I'm glad that she actually got in contact with me, because as I was so new to this experience, I didn't know how to like how would I take the next breath after this entire situation? Where would I even have the strength? Would I feel suicidal in many days, or what's gonna happen? Yes, I know I have a daughter, but it's hard. It's something that I've experienced that before in many ways. My mom I lost my mom when I was 13 years old. Then I had an uncle that me and him was so close, I lost him as well. And those two deaths, I felt that, well, that was the worst pain that I can feel when it comes to death. Losing a mother and losing someone so close to you was like crazy feeling. But when I lost my son that day, that was like, it opened up a new type of hurt. Like I didn't even know that you could feel hurt so much, but in the same time it opened up a space for me that I didn't know that I had that love in me.
Yeah.
Because when I think about it, I said, how can I love a human being so much? Like my son, I didn't even know, like I could have missed someone so much. I missed my mom and I was able to get over it. So I said, when it's gonna be a time for me to say, well, am I gonna get over it as the same way I did with my mom and my uncle? Am I gonna ever gonna get over this pain? But it's a total different pain from every other death that you've experienced. A death of a mother is different from the death of a child. It's totally different, and that's why I learned when I lost my son. If Shakera didn't get in contact with me, I don't know if I could have sit here today and talk to you and express and share my experience. I'm very happy, and I'm glad. Yes, I know that he's in a better place, and I know, but it's just for me to explain that to my heart. And this situation with the little baby that died a couple days ago, oh my God, that died a couple days ago, it really struck and made me like relive everything again, because it was like a similar situation that happened with Trey. And I know what the mother is feeling, because it's like a whole new, it's like you're now living in a world that you think you ever wake up from a nightmare, but it's not. It's just a lifetime pain. And just to be around other people and get the support, it's a real good feeling, because if you don't have the support, then I don't think you'll ever make it in a tragic situation like this.
Ladies, I've said it before and I say it again. This country needs to reach a point where we just need to say that we're going to do all we can, that children can sleep peacefully in their beds, that they can move around after school without fear of their lives. We all want it. We all deserve it. The recent passing of Itana, 3 years old, as you said just now, I would imagine, kind of brings it all back. It brings it back for us, but it is nowhere what I'm sure you must be experiencing at this time. What is it like when you see a society, and you're doing your part, but you see a society that it's not necessarily where we're moving away from having children peacefully sleep? We're just seeing an increase. Well, I don't want to say an increase. We're seeing it continue to happen. What is it like from your end, knowing the experience that you've like? Is it a driver to work harder? Does it sometimes add to a sense of hopelessness or frustration?
Well, I would say for me, it comes off a bit different because of where I am spiritually rooted. Of course, I get discouraged sometimes when I look at how everybody becomes so laid back and you become so accepting that, oh, well, one other picnic dead, then on my one, carry on. And after I lost Tyler and I started to do the outreach, the advocacy to make it aware, make people aware that, you know what, this hurts and it needs to stop. You know, comments were even hurled at me that, you know, why you not make your picnic rest in peace, the little boy done dead already, you know, and this is the type of people that we are dealing with in society right now. Wow. And we also see where and these comments aren't coming from the guys. I mean, they are the one that, you know what, mommy, I really love that you try to do this, and I love what you're doing, and we respect you, you know, and stuff. And the comments that come from other people is from women, from different mothers. And these are the exact same persons that tear other mothers down. The mothers are tearing each other down. And you see sometimes where The mothers are the ones that are actually responsible. The girlfriends are the ones that are actually behind it, the crimes. And so going into this, we would see definitely that people know what is happening, and people choose to shut up about it. They choose to turn a blind eye. Why? Because it's not their kids. So I just was sharing with Latifah earlier. I said, I said, when Treshawn got shot, I felt in my belly something rising up. And it took me right back to that same day when I lost my little boy. And so immediately I went into a fetal position and I began to weep. And my mom said to me, she said, "You are going to be okay." And when I heard that, the first thing that went to my mind was, where is the mother? How is she doing? And so that's why I felt the need to reach out to her, because I know what that was, that moment of loneliness where you go into a place where you no longer know yourself. You no longer know who you are. You no longer know what you're living for. You no longer know where am I to go from here, because everything remains still. And so for me, when I see these things happening and nobody come out to say, you know what, we are supporting you guys. We want to help your cause. We want this to stop. It hurts. And with me personally, when I do outreach or when I send letters out to business places asking for donation, asking for assistance to bring to light the vision that I have through the foundation, it sometimes becomes saddening, because you see you have little to no support until another child dies. Then they decide, you know what, make a try help or something like that. And that is not where I want to see us as a country.
Yeah.
You're taking on a lot, because from the standpoint of just the grief, I'm sure that it comes to a frustrating place where you ask questions, and I know ultimately those questions point to your spiritual roots, because I'm sure you ask God every so often, dude, or whatever, you know, we're going on, you know, why him? And for you to reach out to other mothers and connect, doesn't that peel off the scab? Because your love for your child is a live thing.
It does.
And every time you come back there and you peel off the scab, it's raw again.
No, it's not
How
every
do you
time.
go through? It's not every time.
No, because with her, when I reached out to Latifah, of course I was hurt for Treshawn, and I hurt because I know what she's going through. But I look at it and I say, you know what, God, you know the plans that you had for me. I would have never thought and saw myself as a person I am today. And so because I submitted myself to God and I said, use my pain to help somebody, use me to help bring healing to other people, because if you're going to put me through this, then don't let it be in vain. And that was my cry and my prayer to him. I said, you have me at this point in my life where I feel hopeless, but don't let me remain here. And so gradually I came out of that, and I found myself being able to help others. So when I reached out to her, it was more in love and in care for her, to bring her to the place of peace that I was. It's a process, of course, but like she rightfully said earlier, if she didn't have that, where would she have been? So even though sometimes it brings back memories for me, all I would silently say is, God, don't take me back to that place. I am here to do what you want me to do.
There's a cycle, I would assume, of grieving, where you first grieve, and that grieving actually goes through each of the steps, I would assume.
Yes.
But there's also a point where you start to lash out, and you look and you say, okay, well, if the police had done something different, if I had done something different, if Jane Doe,
The blame portion.
the blame portion. How do you go through that part? Because I know a lot of times that actually fuels the grieving process, that allows you not to be able to heal, because there's somebody to point your finger at,
Well,
even
for
yourself.
me, I went through that phase, and I'm not gonna lie, I sat and I cried and I said, some days when the situation happened, there was a lot of people that had a lot to say as well. Social media plays a big role. And what I did not to go, I tried not going on Facebook just to see what they had to say. So I said that was a kind of way that Satan would say, you know what, I'll test how macho you are, or, you know, I'll just test you. People said that, where was the mother? What is your child doing on the street at 7? And a lot of people had to say. So I didn't say anything, I didn't respond, but one day I just got and I said, you know what, I just tired of this, because if the police may have put more checkpoint, after the fact you want to put a checkpoint on the street.
Yeah.
That don't solve no problem. That done what happened already happened. You can't put a checkpoint there. You know, make no sense. And I say, you know what, let's you just need to stop, pray to God, and just ask God for strength. I need to try to live right for meet my son again. And I have nothing. I think the worst of the young man there would can't I just pull the trigger on my son. But you know what? I say, you know what? I forgive them. I forgive them, because at the end of the day, that's not my battle. My battle is to live right so that I can meet my son again. And their battle is to take it up with the Lord, not me. I said, I know that my son was an angel, and everyone is not here to turn rock stone. So I know I had the best 4 years of my life with my son, and I can't say otherwise. When I first got pregnant, I was only 20 years old, so the world was on my shoulder, and I said, oh, look how I just come, and I turned myself into one of the teenage mothers. I just dropped in the percentage and all of that. And I said, you know what, I don't want to make nobody steer me, otherwise I will be a good mother to my child.
Can I ask you this? What were the dreams for your son? Where do you think that he would have been? And what has Belize lost in your... When you're sitting there and you think, man, you know, my son at 18 would have... Where do you see him going?
Well, to be honest, I was just outside talking to Shakera about that. I just told her that me and he had so many fights before, because I tell him, well, you know, when you got it for school, mommy, I'll be the proudest person. Got no doubt about that. And I said, I'll make sure you go mark up and you look handsome to walk up the aisle. And me and he just had already back and forth, because he so believed that he may go in the school.
Oh.
And I said, baby, I want you to hold him, because you're too smart, and I need you for... I said, not that I have anything on any other school, but I just feel like putting you in the right school for me will make me happy. And with your mother behind and your grandfather, we will do our best to make sure you become the best person, and dropping at the 5% in the meal will actually make something in itself, because like, there's not much males that I can look at today that I can say that their mother is proud of them. It's sad to say, but I want to make sure my son is in that category. So I said, well, you know what? My baby, he went and he will be somebody mature. He will be somebody who will role model in a society where somebody can look up to. So I know at the age of 18, with at the rate of how he would have gone when he was only 4 years old, I know that he would have been a good role model to the little children coming up after him. And I would have been a proud mother. At least I could have said, well, he actually put that feather in my cap. So, but to me, he gave me a lot of stuff to look back at. He was like, couple of days before, I was so proud of myself. Yes, I was grieving, but at the same time was proud, because knowing that I was raising him in a society as we live in, and he could have got on his knees and prayed before he went to bed without me having to tell him, Trey, well, you need to pray to go to bed. He would hold his sister's hand, and they would get on their knees and pray. And the funny thing about his praying, because I told him, well, I'm not gonna strain your brain. We're gonna find the shortest prayer. So me, when Chloe can just sit on the bed and we're gonna pray, so I would hold their hands and I would say, pray mama, pray papa, pray to God, and make me a good child, amen. But Treshawn had a remix. He prayed for the entire family. So then therefore I would be on the bed like this. While he prayed for his granny Ratsy, he prayed for his grandpa Iani, he prayed for his grandpa Edmond, everybody he prayed for. So I said, it was funny, but at the same time, it was a good thing because like at least he knew a God. There was a God.
Yeah.
He got up every morning and he sang his song. When Jesus say yes, nobody can say no, because the neighbor would play. The neighbor would play every morning around 5 o'clock. So he got up and he learned the words to that song. So he coming down the step, all his cousins behind him, and he's the leader of the choir, and everybody behind him. And I would sit and laugh, and I said, how proud I could be of myself to know that you're a little child at the age of 4, not to sing like, you know, their ratchet songs, like. But I'm just proud, and at the end of the day, that those memories makes me happy in times when I'm sad, because yes, I do have days when I could feel like I could just walk on top of a building and just jump off. I do have those days, but on those days I try to pray. I go to work and I try to find stuff to keep myself busy and occupied, because if I'm sitting alone or somewhere alone, that's when it will get the best of me.
You.
So I try to keep myself occupied most times.
Well, we find more and more with the challenge we have with the crime situation in this country is people build a separation. It's them, those people who are affected by crime, those people who are involved in crime, and us, those who feel fearful. And that separation is only eliminated when someone is directly affected, when it's your family, when it's somebody you know. And I think that what we see in that particular situation is that people disassociate. Shootings happen every night, someone is killed, you know, if they're 20, 16, sad, but a child then, you know, really rocks our society, and I think people start to think a bit more. What are we missing for people who are directly affected and in the worst possible way? You've been victims of crime in a way that I think nobody wishes it on anyone. But when you hear the public conversation that takes place, what do you feel that people are absolutely missing in this conversation?
Love. I think they're missing love, and I say that because, Marlene, I know a lot of homes, we no longer have love. I mean, you could find a husband and wife in a house and they're texting each other. There is no longer a personal, intimate relationship. There's a mom in the room and the kids are on the tablet, they're on the TV, they're on the computer. We no longer have that love, and we no longer have communication within the home. And so without communication, everybody drifts apart. And now we are the ones who are directly affected. So after 2 weeks, the story becomes a bit old, and then we are left with the pain. Everybody go about their normal life. That's okay. And it's not to say that you're looking for sympathy, but I'm saying that there is no support thereafter to say that, you know what, this family may need counseling. This family may need grief counseling. They need to address the trauma that they've gone through. They need to be at a place where they need to become healed. And that is where I have programs planned through the foundation to get off the ground. But what I am doing now is hoping, and I'm praying that I could get maybe at least a land and funds to build the building, because I am hoping to have all of this established where the families can come and they could get the grief counseling, they could get family planning lessons, the males could come and they could have sporting events, the kids could come and have information to help them grow emotionally, spiritually, and education-wise, because all of these tie into why the children become unproductive. Because if you are not being attended to at home, you get led astray. You go to school, you are not being attended to, you not pay mind at school, nothing seems to make sense. You that have by your mind, my daddy dead, my brother dead, and where do I go from here? Without the proper guidance and the intervention, that child then becomes somebody who is broken, hurt, traumatized, and angry, because nobody seems to pay him or her any mind, and that is how the lifespan of that child goes until they reach that age where somebody of influence brings that person in and say, you know what, either the gang leader, and the child finds love from that person, and right there you get pulled in, hold a gun, and turn one of the same monsters there were hurt on before. Where I want to take the foundation is to put a stop to that. Start with the kids first. Affect their lives first. Impact their lives first. Teach them to communicate. Teach them to love. Show them the love of God. Because that is what is lacking in the homes now. Nobody fear God no more. When you're posting about God, people laugh at you. When you tell people that God bring me from this place, they laugh. But they don't understand who I was before to who I am now. I couldn't have done it alone. And so that is why she could testify about that.
That is true.
Shakera, in terms of what exists, and you lost your son some time ago, and as you look at the landscape of what is available to a grieving mother and a grieving family, and I notice as you speak, you're talking about making long-term plans to address this solution. Could you first talk to us about what you find existing to assist these families, and how that is either adequate or inadequate, and how your foundation will somehow coordinate or affect it in a new way?
I could only speak personally on my part, and I know when I lost Tyler, I was advised to go to counseling, and it wasn't by anybody of significance then. It was just friends up and around saying you need to get counseling. But for the government, the leaders, the people that say I am here for the people and I want to move my country forward, none. There wasn't anything set in place to say, you know what, this lady went through something traumatic. I need to have her enrolled in this program. I need to reach out to this person
nothing
to
at
say.
Human Services, nothing at
Nobody.
Belize, nothing at...
Nobody. I'm only speaking on my personal knowledge, but there was nobody at that point that came to me from any organization to say that I want to offer this to you. There was nothing in place then. I took it upon myself because my friend Robin told me, I'm worried about you. And that was when I went to get counseling for about maybe a month. And after that, I stopped on my own because I said I will not depend on man, I will depend on God. And that is why I stopped. And so my process to where I am now is not because a man helped me, it's because God helped me. I had nobody except him and the people that surrounded me in my small circle. So there was nothing in place for me.
Can I push one?
Did that change in 2018? Did it change? Did you get any reach out? The Ministry of National Security has said they've offered grief counselors to the mother of Itana Bennett. So obviously that's one step showing progress in responding. And I think one of the fears that we hear is that there'll be retaliation, you know?
Yeah.
Both of you, and I've heard you say it before, Shakera and Latifah, you just said it there. Forgiveness is not easy for anything. Forgiving a person who robbed you of your child is a very brave step. How are you able to say that today when someone, and how do you, because if we could have a situation where any person is killed and you don't see the retaliatory efforts made afterwards, we would see less crime. What's the difference between you being able to say, you know what, that person who did this horrible thing to me, I forgive you?
The reason I took it that way because when I said that in order for me to move past the pain that I'm feeling, I need to forgive them because it's for my benefit as well. Because if I sit here and not forgive them, I'm gonna keep on being angry at them for doing what they did. Yes, when they took away my son, they actually took a part of me, and that's, I'm shattered. I'm a shattered person, and I'm trying to put the pieces back to my life. But for me to hold on to a grudge to them, knowing that, especially as what Ms. Shakera mentioned, that I know that they're trying to fit in because it's probably something has to do within their family as well. It's a root, like it comes from the family. Who knows what they're going through? Who knows if it was like something that was forced on them? I don't know what was what's in your mind when they came, and knowing the thought that they're already feeling for taking a child's life, that's even worse. So for me to sit here and be angry at them all my life, I have the time I would take to be angry at them. I need all the time that I can get to try to be strong for my daughter, because I have a daughter as well, and I have a lot of stuff to do with her. Knowing that with these shots, just with the situation with Ethana, we came home and a little while in the night, there was gunshots again. She ran to me and she hugged me and started crying. There's gunshot. She already know at the age of 3 years old, how can a child, when I was 3 and there's a gunshot, I didn't even know that was a gunshot. But my daughter, that she says, Mommy, that's the gunshot. And what I could do, I could just hug her, sit down and cry, because I don't know, she already traumatized. The things she says at 3 years old, sometimes it makes me wonder, like, she would come, and last night I sat and I hugged her and I said, you love Mommy? And she said, yes, I love you. It said, with Mommy, I don't want nobody to shoot you up, because I was shooting. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. Because like I said to myself, like, how can a kid at the age of 3 say such thing? But the generation that we're living in, and the situation and the society and the era, there's nothing else but that what they see every day.
It's a reality.
And I said, baby, you don't need to think like that. Nothing won't happen to me. I'm gonna be here to protect you.
From your perspective, Shakera says she feels that the missing element in our conversation about crime is love. And, you know, even bolder, I think, having sympathy for the perpetrators of these crimes and how they perhaps lack love. What for you? Do you not hear people saying, or not hear people contemplating, that you wish would be a part of the conversation when we talk about the crime and violence that happens in our city?
Well, to be honest, Marlene, I'm a person that would go from work to home, and all that I can say, I try not to listen to the negative side of what people has to say, because if we do, especially in a time like where I'm at this moment, my son only passed away 4 months ago. Yeah. And anything people might say, I don't know. Like I first told the guy that interviewed me for Channel 7, I don't know what feeling I would get up with in another day. I don't know if today I'm gonna be a good person, or today if I'm gonna be happy, or tomorrow I'm gonna be crying, don't want to go to work. I don't know what it's gonna be like. Say it's like a storm. I don't know. What I can do is just get up and pray and ask God for strength to carry on through the day. But to be honest, just my surrounding, everyone is just like traumatized with the killing, especially when it comes to a young child. Everyone is just traumatized. They're like, you know, we need to stop, but at the end of the day, people is just saying we need to stop, but no one wants to come together to, you know, like do something.
If you guys allow me, I want to take a little less polite approach to the perpetrators. Now, the purpose of, I would assume, if a child is directly the target of one of these things of violence, is something that you referred to earlier. It's probably to get to a male that they have some problem with. But would you agree with me that probably the male is a lot less affected? I'm not saying that we males are not affected, but the ripple effect probably misses the target, so they're actually failing. Could you talk to us about just how the impact is missing the person? And the reason why I want to do that is because I might think that this is having an effect. Okay, well, you know, you took my drugs, or you took whatever. I'm not saying that all of this is bad. Each example is different, because some of them might be just mistakes. Some of the kids pulling the triggers, and it's very young people pulling the triggers, are just kicked up on drugs. They go for one target and somebody else was there, and that's just what happened. But there are some who are actually directly saying, like they see movies, like they see these things going at these children. And I don't know if you'll agree with me, but they're missing the target. The guy probably 2 times and he's on to something else. So are they really not being effective? This is a strategy which is just not working if you're a perpetrator.
Yeah, they don't, I believe, in my situation, like I said, I could only speak from my personal standpoint. But for my one, there is somebody in prison. He was 18 years old then, I saw him going to court because I went to court the day. And I will be honest to you, with you, my heart went out to the mom because she's losing a son, not to death, but to be imprisoned where he is at a place where he's being told you have to go to bed a certain hour. There is no real humanitarian kind of thing going on in there where he could say, I have the luxury of being at home, see family. And so my heart went out for that because she's losing her son in a different way. Whether he did it or not, she is grieving the loss of her son. And when I look at the circumstances around it, why it happened, how it happened based on the police reports, it was something random. It was something where they saw the child on the bike. They saw Tyler on the bike. And it was where they said, I don't care. And the words that they used saying it, when I went back to think about it, and after the fact, people do talk. And I remember one time somebody came and they said to me, somebody that was in the car when they killed your son said this is what happened. But they were having a bragging conversation about it, and they described when the bullet touched my child, how he fell off the bike on his face and Portian grabbed at him. And when the bullet went off, it was the first shot that cut my baby. And Portian grabbed at him. And when he grabbed at him, the other bullets hit him. And so Tyler fell on his face off the bike. And he hit his face on the handle of the bike, fell on his face, and then Portian collapsed a bit up more. And when the person said that to me, it took me back into a place of anger where I literally wanted to just go and burn the whole block down. That was the feeling I had because I said, you are animals, you are not human beings. I prayed and I asked God, help me with that, because I became an angry person for that moment. And at the same time when that happened, I went to have lunch and I opened the newspaper, and there it was, the young man's picture that was arrested. He was going to court that day and was remanded back to prison. And I said, what is this country doing to help us? We are the ones now have to live without not knowing who my son was going to be. I know that my son was always a student, very bright child. He had to go through the trauma of losing his dad at an early age. So I had 2 years having to answer questions to my son about when will I see my daddy alive again. And his dad was then shot randomly. Well, of course it wasn't random, but it was a target at a certain group, innocently, because he was just a bystander. I have to explain that to him. And then 2 years after, I have to now deal with the grief of losing him. So, of course you have emotions. Of course you want to see that person dead at a certain point, because I'll be honest, we are humans.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was even asked, and this is by other guys, just tell me what you want I do and I'll do it. And deal it there for you. That was what I was being told. I go and do it. You name have to pay me nothing. I want to do it because they chance the baby. I said no. If I allow you to do that, I will be no different from them. Yep. Mm-hmm. I will keep the cycle going, and I will not be responsible and have people bloods on my hand. So I said, no. I chose to turn that pain into something different to help other people, because I knew I was not going to be the only one to be affected by it. Because after that, all the person did, and people had time to take pictures of my son on the street. So after they done shoot her, after he fell on his face, and the picture that was on social media was with my child with his face on the floor with blood coming out of his mouth. That is what society is now, and nobody seems to care, because it's all for fun now, it's all for likes. Yep. We left with that pain that sometimes when you go back to that place, it makes you wonder, what is our country going to be like a couple of years from now? Yep. What is going to be the trend then? Mm-hmm. So they do need to put other measures in place, yes, to give severe penalties, but at the same time, you have this human right factor, because I wanted to see different things in place for people that hurt children that go to jail. But the first thing they said to me was, do your research for presidents and do your research that it does not infringe their human rights. So I want to kill a child and I go to jail, go sit down and just relax. I get the privilege of getting Sunday dinner every Sunday. I could go, my mama could come hear me, my sister could come hear me, my girlfriend could come hear me. After a while, they even get visits to contact me and actually physically touch me when I kill one child.
So you wanted more severe punishment for the
I
perpetrator?
wanted it. I wanted it. I sat with it. I honestly wanted that when they get incarcerated, that we could look at restricting certain visitation from them, restricting that, because yes, you're locked up, but you still have your family coming, you still listening like normal, you still could have access for phone, you could talk to them, you could have all of that. And it's just like you are at home away from home. But we now have the home, but our house is no longer a home. It's never the same. So I would have liked to see different things like that set in place, especially when it comes to that portion. When it comes to the court process, it takes too long. Because if I spend 3 years, 4 years in prison, and I killed a child a couple years back then, 2 years, 3 years after, everybody catch amnesia. Everybody becomes so afraid that they catch amnesia and that person comes off. So it's something where we are hoping and praying that it changes and that the leaders realize where the loopholes are. And even within the police departments, there is loopholes because people become aware of what is happening. I go and make a report or I come as a witness. How will you know I am a witness if somebody does not tell that information from internal? The witness becomes so fearful that they don't even want to speak. They don't want to come out of their house because that is what is happening.
That is the case where we have a lot of unsolved murders and crimes, because it would then start, a lot of people would say, well, this one have a family member in the police department, and they're gonna say, well, yeah, she's the witness in the case. Then you saying that to someone, maybe they don't have the intention to say it out to, you know, to make it be known, but you know, Belize, I give you one news, you gonna give your friend gonna tell her friend, and the like what circle it get back, and then bam, 2 days after, the witness house gets shoot up or something happened to somebody from a member. And that's the reason why, to me, I know for a fact my son case cool. So I didn't even try at first when my son died.
Why do you say that?
Because like this was told to a family member that spoke to another department, someone from out of the police department, and they said to him, to be honest, your son case is cool.
They don't know who
they found the car, but the guys, well, they said that they found the car, the guys went to jail, but it was for a stolen vehicle. Now, I don't know how true it is. I don't know. I don't try to push myself and try investigating anything. I left it that way. That's in the hands of the law. As Shakera said, many times I have a lot of friends that tell me, you just have to say the word, and I will do what I got to do. But at the end of the day, I say, what it will take for me, God tell you, yes, go, because I'm angry. Go shoot up there. Then they come back, shoot up my house and take my next kid. What happened? Every action have a reaction. And I said to them like this, I don't need anyone to do anything for me. At the end of the day, if they could do that to me, it is a circle. It might not be tomorrow. It's gonna be, something's gonna happen to them. Maybe 10 years from now, they have a kid, something happens to them. I'm not saying the world is wrong, and I try not to do anything or say anything towards. I just left that entire situation away from me. I try steering myself into doing the right thing and living.
For you, but do you have thoughts similar to what Shakera said? And if they would find the person who pulled the trigger, what you would want to be the consequence of the action?
To be honest, if they would find the person that did that to my son, I would want to speak to them myself. Because I have a couple questions I would ask them. Like, yes, I would ask what was going through your mind when you did that. Like, you saw my son there, like what was the reason? I knew that no one that was there at the moment wasn't the target. But why didn't you just drive off then? Why did you still decide to pull the trigger? Going to jail, they're still gonna sit because knowing that they have to go in a certain hour, they have all that time alone, and it's gonna bail on their conscience because we're only human being.
Yeah.
So if I go and I was told to go ahead and shot Marlene, and I see Marlene's son and I shot him, and I go to jail for that crime, I would sit, because then that thought of having to see that happen, or see that I shot a child, that's gonna hurt me. You're only human being. If it doesn't hurt you, then again you're an animal. Because knowing that I had to pick up my son from the floor, take him to the hospital with his blood running down the side of my clothes, with that entire experience, that's just something that I don't think any mother should ever face, especially for a 3 or a 4-year-old child. I don't think that you should ever go through something like that.
Just one more question. When you, and Latisha, you talk of still hearing shooting on a regular basis, and when you see young boys, young men who we know are involved in criminal activity, we know that given the right time and context, they'll probably pick up a gun and go after a target, catch or miss. When you see them, what do you want to say to them? What do you say to them in your community, or knowing that they're heading down a path where they may cause the type of pain that you suffer to any other person out there?
For me personally, I would tell them there's still hope and there's still time to stop it, because what I want is I want to see the young men become productive. I want them to believe in themselves. I want them to see that, you know what, yes, I made a mistake, but you could still be redeemed from that. And the only way that we could do that is through, one, the love of God, the love of Christ, and for us to start showing support. And I'm not saying I'm going to tell you, oh, I encourage what you do, but I'm saying there are genuine people out there that wants to help. They want to help. And when I see them doing that, I would definitely talk to them that, you know what, that doesn't make sense. In a really wise, think of all the consequences. And so if you could directly hit them at an area where they see the nonsense I'm doing, then they would stop. If they choose to go forward, you can't control it. But I'm saying that sometimes I believe the moms are more influential to their kids. If your mom tell you, son, I don't like this, you would listen. If even it comes to dating, your mom says, I don't like that girl, or I find something about her, or I don't like that friend there, son, you need to watch out because I one day, you would listen to your mom, because they always said mom knows best. So I believe that we as women, we as the community, we as the mothers who have been affected, need to show the guys what they caused, what they have done, but still give them hope that they could go forward into a different direction. And so that is what we are trying to do at this time.
To be honest, I have a lot of friends that I know that are in gang members. So what I would say to them, I would be like, well, imagine you listen to your so-called boss, and they send you to go do something, and you impact that family. You don't know how you impact that family life. Imagine then, put yourself in their shoes. How you would feel if you know that you start a family, because more than likely after a while the game is gonna get old. You're gonna get tired of doing that, and you're gonna wanna settle down with a family. But because you're already in this part, you're not gonna wanna do that, because at the end of the day, the moment you have a kid, the same thing that you did to someone's family, they can come back and do it to you. How are you gonna feel? What's gonna be the benefit from hurting someone? What if you lost your mom? Suppose it's gonna be like a revenge. There's a lot of questions that they cannot answer. I know that they think about it, but they just don't want to answer. But like you said, I know that sometimes the mother is not gonna be like most of the factors to it. but at the same time, your mom can only talk to you just as how you would come and talk to me, I would talk to you, but it's up to them to listen.
It's just, as you guys are talking about what you're going through, I know there's a process in the States where that allows families of victims during the court process to actually face the perpetrator and tell them what they want to do. And so maybe that's something that could be advocated for as part of the process.
I would want that. The reason why I would want that is the person, like I said, was 18. And I'm just thinking about what was his plan for his life and what did his mom want or see or want to see from him. And now she's not able to see that because he's where he is. And was it a decision that he's now regretting? Is it a decision now where he said, I really messed up? Was he even a part of it? You know, so I do agree with that. But at the same time, if you are not at a level where you've forgiven that person, it could become something dangerous.
Yep.
Because if I'm still not forgiving you, angry, hurt, and I see you, there's a very high possibility I will want to hurt you. And I will cause the situation to spiral into something that it necessarily doesn't have to reach. In my area, I have forgiven him. I've forgiven all of them. It's not because I had to, but because I know where I want to go. And I cannot hold on to that pain and allow them to keep me a prisoner. Because if I stay mad, then they win. I am mad and I'm going to be mad for the rest of my life. I don't want that. I have dreams of having a family again. I have dreams of having more children, yes. But I would also want to see a turnaround point for that person in prison.
My final question is, what we're talking about here is one of the saddest examples of failure. And when I say that, I mean, Marlene always talks about it. I mean, if children die, don't let us react. Don't let us have programs to deal with families and children. Don't let the perpetrators say, man, this is too far. Don't let mothers cling on to their children a little bit more. Don't let a child being on the street at 7 o'clock. I grew up in the 80s. Being on the street at 7 o'clock
That's okay.
was okay. You'd pass on the street and you'd hear Days of Another World, Deep song playing. So, I mean, people are just living farces. There's a lots of failure, and I think that as much as people don't want to, sometimes pointing the finger is healthy. We have to point the fingers at ourselves. We have to point the fingers at our justice system, because half of the people don't even get to a trial, as you were saying.
Yep.
But we also have to point the fingers at our churches, because you don't solve this problem at the time when you're grieving. You solve this problem when the churches and the other social partners get out there and are engaged and have a relationship with our society. Can you talk to us about the standpoint of maybe what more the church can do in terms of getting to this issue before it becomes a problem, the preventative approach as you were talking about?
This is something very touchy, but you have to clean your house first. I can't go and clean somebody else's house if my house dirty. Meaning a lot of churches are at a stagnant point where they need to clean up their acts in order for them to go and do what they need to do, what God has called them to do. There's a level where we ought to be where we're not, because people look at Christians sometimes and say, I'm not going to no church because no church people as wicked as the people out there. And that is where we need to start. We need to start cleaning up our acts as the church. Do house cleaning first, get our houses in order, and then we go to do exploits and get other people's houses in order. I cannot say that I am going to be a disciple and do this and do that when my life is saying contrary. So they always say you practice what you preach. And so I believe that if the churches come together, because there's always a division with churches, there's always a competition, there's always something to say that, you know what, my ministry is doing more, my ministry is doing less, your ministry is this, your ministry is that. Religion, doctrines, that separates us. If we are to come together as a body and say, we are the body of Christ. We are going to function. The hand, you need 2 hands, you need 2 foot, you need the head, you need everything. If the hand missing, if one of the foot missing, then it's not functioning. And so I believe that there has to be one big unified body now. Everybody needs to come together for the common purpose, not for religion, not for belief, not for nothing, but for the healing of the nation, right? So in order for us to progress as a church to say we are going to heal, we must first start internally and then we go out. Because Jesus trained his disciples first before he sent them out. He taught them what he knew. And so we must do that too.
He dazzled them first,
He showed them the power of God.
Correct. That's the first thing he did.
And then after that, they said, I want that.
Correct.
So each of us have to be after the same
But
thing.
I want to big you guys up because I know through this process, it's a personal grieving process, which could consume you and could make you turn everything inside.
And
I
can
think it's
also
brave.
turn you into an angry person. And when you say that, I appreciate that honesty because I think that's how
Grieving is.
all of us would imagine to feel. But you've taken that anger and you've transformed it into something else, into something positive. Where when we hear Tyler Savery and Treshawn Goff, we think of the moms who are working to help others and to do more. My final question just has to do with how do we help? How does everyone else help? How do we help you make sure that the orphaned children of gun violence have the chili dog and s'more nights that you've been talking about? How do we help to make sure that you have the resources you need to reach out to the mothers of the Itanas to ensure that they have someone to talk to who identifies? How do we help?
I'm trying to choose my words right now. I have the Tyler Savery Foundation. We have a Heritage Bank checking account. We would definitely appreciate if people get in contact with myself. My number is 633-0820. If they would like to make a contribution. Like I said, Marlene, my vision for this, our children, our women, our country in a whole, when it comes to the violence aspect, is to move forward and to heal the hearts. And so I'm definitely seeing myself needing about maybe 2 to 3 acres of land within this city. Because I want to have a fully equipped resource center and outreach center to administer love, care, and counseling to them. The center itself, the vision that I have for it will be something fully equipped where the children will be able to access computers. They will be able to have teachers, Christian teachers there to teach them, help assist them with homework, because academically we need them to perform. We no longer need a system and a country where people look at Belize and say, you know what, this is our least sympathy project. We want them to see that we could actually produce something out of their investment. And so I would definitely appeal for at least maybe 3 acres of land within the city. Maybe if somebody is able to assist with financing to say help construct a building and get it going, because I would want a sporting area for them where I could have things. I also want a greenhouse area where I could teach the kids to do agriculture so they could become entrepreneurs, learn to make their own food, produce it and sell it, because that itself makes income rather than having them go on the streets. So I also have the vision to put a medical wing in there, a little hostel where they could go and spend time, where if I am home, I become angry, I get in a fight with my mom, there is nowhere for me to go. Where will I go rather than on the streets? This facility will be able to house them a maximum of maybe 5 days, where we will have interventions from counselors, we will have social worker and stuff involved. So like I said, the vision that I have for it is very big. It will definitely need a lot of money and funds to get it off the ground. But I know I serve a big God, and so I've been praying about it, and I've been asking God to open doors for me that I could get this officially off the ground to assist our people.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and most importantly, we really thank you for coming in and adding your conversation to this situation that we're facing in the country.
And before we leave, I would just like to share, yesterday I laid on my bed and I wrote this. This just came into my heart and I wanted to write it. So if you would allow me to share it, I could.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "Dear Mr. Gunman, you may not know me and I may not know you, but one thing for sure is that you know how to use a gun, and one that mommy didn't buy in a store. You see, my mommy and daddy had plans for me, just as God did. Whether this was God's plan for me or not, I don't know. But one thing I do know, because of you, everything stopped. Because today, you killed me. Yes, you shot me and killed me. My body is soaked with my blood. My mommy is screaming over my body. She can't breathe, and neither can I. Why did you hurt me? Why did you hurt my mommy, my daddy, my family, my friends? Did you mean to do it, Mr. Gunman? Was it an accident? Did you mean to end my life so young? Did you know that I was a good reader? I enjoyed playing at the park and I loved watching Tom and Jerry. And oh, did I like to climb trees, especially those that had berry. But now, because you killed me, I can no longer have fun. I can't tell mommy and daddy bye, nor can I tell them not to cry. I hope they know that I am okay, even though their lives will never be the same. I will never know who I was to be, neither will they. They will never get to see me graduate from school or have my first girlfriend. They will never get to watch me go to prom or take me to my first job interview. All because of you. But that's okay, because now I have wings. I am with the angels in heaven, and I think that's super cool. But for them, their tears have now made a pool. If possible, Mr. Gunman, please tell my mommy you're sorry for hurting her. Please tell her that you didn't mean it, even if you did. Please tell her that it was an accident, that you didn't see me, because she feels it more than anyone else. She can no longer dry away my tears. All she has now is fear and grief. All she can do now is remember me soaked in my own blood and my breath slowly leaving my little body. Will you help me to help my mommy? Please tell her you didn't mean it, and my life really means something to you. Turn yourself in and admit that you made a horrible mistake. When I made mistakes, mommy would always hug me, kiss me, and tell me it's okay. Maybe she will do the same for you. Mr. Gunman, please do it for me. You already killed me. It's the least you can possibly do. Have remorse. Imagine walking in my mommy's shoes. Do you have a clue? My eyes are wide open, but I cannot see. I cannot see why I am dead, because you, Mr. Gunman, pulled the trigger and shot me dead. I sat yesterday and I wrote that because I could just imagine that some people need to hear the painful reality of what is happening.
And you've left quite a lot for us to think about as well. We have to wrap up this segment, and I think that was the best way to close. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about Dara's Ride for Hunger coming up soon. Stay tuned.